today we have a very interesting guest, Samuel Chong, who is a certified court interpreter and a Chinese translator. And he was instrumental in arranging for the Chinese publication of Michel Demarque's book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, which has been really a bestseller. Oh, welcome, Samuel, and please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you get involved in this whole topic of UFOs and aliens? What inspired you?
Well, I was born in Beijing, China. Since I was very young, I had a fascination about space. I wanted our society to grow at a much faster pace, technologically and also otherwise. So I thought it might be a good idea to learn from the ETs that have an advanced civilization. If they can come to visit us, they must have advanced technologies to guide us so that we can take the shortcut and to learn from them. So that's actually has been in my subconscious mind. So I was intentionally looking for books of ET contactees in order to get more information so that we can advance at a much faster pace. So when I came to the US, one day I was searching on Amazon looking for such books, and I found this book, Thiaoouba Prophecy. It was called Abduction to the Ninth Planet at that time. And it was selling very expensively on Amazon. So I borrowed it from a library through the interlibrary loan services. And I was really shocked and amazed at the specific verifiable information contained in the book that can actually help us, help our entire society to grow to the right direction.
We know that you met the author of the book later. And can you please tell us, how did you meet Michel Demarque?
You know, since I was so shocked at the content of the book, I did a thorough research. But then when I read the postscript, it says that there are more incredible things that the author, Michel Demarque, was not allowed to write in the book because we were far from understanding them. So that got me extremely curious because the information contained in the book, to me, it was already incredible enough. What's more incredible about it? So that's why I decided to track him down and to ask him in person what else he knew but wasn't allowed to write in the book. So I decided to pay a visit to him. Although I didn't know where exactly he was living, I found a picture on the internet. A tourist who accidentally met him took a photo of his bungalow. So I printed the picture out and showed it to the taxi driver after I landed in Phu Quoc Island, Vietnam. And the taxi driver just took me to where he was living at that time.
So you went to Vietnam because this is where he lived, right?
Yes, he moved from Australia to Vietnam for his later years.
Can you please tell our viewers, does the book talk about the spiritual level of development of the Thiaoouba civilization, and what importance does spirituality really play in their lives?
Well, on the planet Thiaoouba, the author Michel Demarque, witnessed how advanced their civilization is, in the sense that the Thiaoubans could utilize their psychic powers to do everything that Jesus Christ did on earth, such as using levitation to move around, materializing objects, healing people who got injured. He got injured on the planet, and they healed him just in the instantaneously in a few seconds. And also they could use telepathy to communicate with each other. They could do everything that Jesus Christ did on earth. The importance of life, the meaning of life, is to learn spiritual lessons through responding to the life challenges that we face all the time. So it is important to focus on how to grow spiritually and not on the material life, because we cannot take away any material wealth when we die. But the spiritual lessons are accumulated after we die because the information is stored in our astral body and higher self. So as we elevate ourselves spiritually, we grow and we move up to the ladder.
And do you think that contact with extraterrestrial civilizations poses a threat to humanity or vice versa? And what does this depend on?
Well, according to this book, the ETs, extraterrestrials of Thiaoubans, they are really compassionate, loving people. When Michel Demarque was with them, he felt love, universal love, and great compassion from these people. And he was also told that we are not ready to explore space yet because we have to learn how to live harmoniously among ourselves. We are not ready because we are still having wars among ourselves. Imagine, I'll give you an analogy. Imagine that you are in a forest in Africa and you see two groups of gorillas fighting against each other. Would you invite them to your beautiful mansion in Arizona or Los Angeles? No, you would wait until they can really communicate with you and also live with you, behave in a civilized manner. We are not at that level yet. We have to learn how to be more civilized in space.
And on our planet as well, because really we are as those fighting apes, unfortunately. And do you know how many representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations are on Earth right now?
Well, I can say that there are so many ETs in our galaxy. The author Michel Demarque actually saw at least 147 corpses of different ETs in a golden doko. Doko is the half-egg shaped structure that he saw on the planet Thiaoouba. So there are at least about 147 different ETs in our galaxy alone. So there have been other ETs visiting us, such as the Greys and also other kinds of ETs, but they mostly come to observe us and not to intervene or to be involved in our internal politics or internal struggles. The Thiaoubans, on the other hand, they are actually in charge of monitoring us and guiding us to the right direction. So they are in charge of guiding us in a very beneficial way, but they have to do that very indirectly because they cannot serve the meal on the plate. We have to learn how to evolve on our own. If they serve the meal on the plate, we are never going to learn. Just like a parent teaching their children about a mathematical problem. The parent, if he is very smart and wise, he wouldn't just give the solution to their children. He would give them the principles and ways how to solve them so that their children can solve on their own in order to learn better. So this is the same thing they have been doing to us, just to give us messages and principles so that we learn how to resolve the issues we encounter on our own.
Yeah, so there's like free will, our choice that we have to make our own choices, grow up, and at the same time, it's not about giving us the fish. It's about teaching us or like making us learn how to fish. Yeah,
exactly.
And so you call this book the most important book of the 21st century. Why?
Because this book gives a lot of specific verifiable information, and people can verify. It asks us to really wake up and to really see what's happening around the world, to see what's really happening behind everything, behind the scenes. Are the politicians running everything? Not necessarily. There are other people behind them pulling the strings. But most importantly, this book gives a solution to all the problems we're facing on Earth. It asks us to really look at the issues to the root causes of everything, which is money. And the way to respond to the challenges is actually to act at a grassroots level, to imitate what Gandhi did in India through nonviolent resistance to rise up against tyranny. For example, strike, nonviolent strike, would force the powers that are controlling everything to listen to our demands, our requests. Remember, if we, the poor people, act in a concerted manner, non-violently, peacefully. Who would lose the most? It's the people who are super wealthy, the powers that are controlling everything, because they're no longer able to control us or to enslave us. They are going to lose the most because no one is going to work for them anymore. So this is a concept that's being strongly promoted by this book, is to act together in a unified manner through nonviolent resistance to rise up against the tyranny.
Yes, this is a very important topic, and actually the topic of the previous international online forum, Global Crisis: Our Survival is in Unity, on November 12th, 2022. We talked about this, that we need to unite, and this is the major topic of the creative society. So we will get back to this new or well forgotten, let's say, format of living a little bit later. Let me ask you about more in details about what's written in the book. So there is this concept of DOCO, right? And what is it, and how does it function?
Well, DOCO is the building structure that the ETs live on their planet. They use like a core that sends out energy that forms this kind of half-acre structure. When people go inside of a DOCO, they can see outside. So it's transparent to them to see outside. But people who are outside cannot see inside. They use a special force field to form this structure. This is a very interesting technology that they use on their planet. I doubt that we are able to imitate to have that technology soon, because it uses a special force field. But there are other technologies we can incorporate on Earth and to imitate how they live their lifestyles and to make our world a better world.
That's interesting. And in the book, I'm looking at it right now. It is the DOCO is egg-shaped, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why are they egg-shaped? What is the peculiarity of this shape?
Well, it actually uses a energy force field of a human body. Like we have 9 different bodies, the physical body, the astral body, the astrotypical body, and other different bodies. And one of the 9 bodies has actually energy force field, and it actually imitates nature like our force field. So when some people say they can see auras, they see the auras, the colors of auras emitting from the body. And the other force field of a human body is like a haft. It's like an egg shaped. So I think they're imitating nature like our force field. So because our force field is like an egg shaped, so is the shape of the DOCO.
Interesting. We also talked about the egg-shaped forms during the last Kaleidoscope of Facts that was talking about the structures and everything. So they're also very interesting. And do you know what materials are the DOCO made of, and how does this material affect their properties?
In the DOCO, there's a core that's extremely heavy. Michel Demarque couldn't lift it, and even Tao, 9-foot tall, beautiful ET that has a lot of strength, couldn't lift it. It's extremely heavy, and through that material, it sends out a force field to the surrounding, forming this golden DOCO, forming this DOCO. So I think we are not, we don't know what kind of material it is. And I think if we study human energy field in more details, we would be able to know how to emit that kind of force field to form a DOCO.
Okay, thank you. And now let's talk about the flying ships, the spaceships of this civilization. What are the particular traits, and what makes them able to travel such long distances so quickly?
Well, the main spaceship is like a spherical shape, like 70 meters in diameter, and it can travel so fast that it can travel a few times the speed of light. And then what they did was that they traveled at a few times speed of light to deep space. And then at a specific location in deep space, they use what they call super substantiation or teleportation to immediately like be in another location in deep universe, in deep space. So what they did is that they kind of use a high vibration, for example, the vibration that's similar to the vibration of light, to make the spaceship disappear. And then they move that energy, the disappeared spaceship, immediately to another location in the universe, in deep space, instantaneously, in the instant second. And then they reduce the vibration level so that the spaceship reappears. And then from that point in deep space, they travel also at a speed of a few times faster than speed of light to their destination, which is Thiaoouba, that planet. They can only do teleportation or super substantiation in deep space, because if they did that elsewhere, the spaceship would have been exploded. So this is the explanation given by the ETs to Michel Demarque. And I find that to be very interesting as well, as it sounds very logical. And also when they travel at a few times faster than the speed of light, they use what they call antimatter guns to really destroy the space dusts and small asteroids so that it wouldn't crash the spaceship.
Interesting. And what physical laws do these ships operate on? Let's say like this.
It really doesn't say, because Michel Demarque was a landscaper, and he didn't have a lot of education, especially physics or chemistry or astrophysics. So he didn't really ask a lot of questions in detail. When the ETs were trying to explain to him regarding certain physics philosophies or concepts, and he said, "Oh, wait, I don't understand, just slow down." So it couldn't really explain to him a lot of the details, but what he saw was that the walls in the spaceship constantly change colors. So they may be made of certain materials, or they may be made of certain energy system that through changing the different vibrations, the colors would show up. So I think it'll be very interesting to learn more details about it, especially given the fact that Michel Demarque actually saw a lot of computer monitors, like screens in the spaceship, in which they could see and zoom in at a very large scale and to see the scale to the details of their targets. For example, when they were visiting the planet Arimo X3, they zoomed in at a so detailed level that everything on the planet could be seen in a very detailed manner, and they could also see at night as well. So they must have some kind of infrared or some other kind of technology to be able to see everything at night very clearly.
And are there any other planets in our solar systems that we have not yet discovered?
In our solar system, Michel Demarque, being a landscaper, he didn't ask this question, but I would assume that there may be or there may not be. But what's interesting that's contained in the book is that there's a pattern in universe that 9 planets revolve around a star, like the sun. And 9 stars revolve around a bigger star. And 9 bigger stars revolve around an even bigger star until the source of the universe. I find that to be interesting because a few years ago, astronomers discovered another solar system similar to ours that has 9 planets revolving around a star. I would think that they would discover more solar systems like ours, having 9 planets revolving a star. And so this pattern can be verified by astronomers.
Now let's switch gears and talk about the society. I think you are familiar with the concept of creative society, and please tell us what, in your opinion, what is your vision of this society where everyone would be happy?
I think the ideal would use technology to assist our spiritual development. This is the ideal. This is the goal that we are all trying to aim for. If the technologies that we develop only focus on material wealth, then it's just going to create more jealousy, more hatred, and more wars among us. On the other hand, if the technologies can benefit us to make our world a better world, and to improve our spirituality, then that's going to be a very good direction. For example, one of the technologies that this book encourages us to look into is the technology to see auras or human energy fields, because human energy fields can tell a lot about a person's intentions and actually at the same time physical health. It is going to be very beneficial to us if we can do that. Kurdian photography is a Russian technology. It was a Russian technology developed by 2 Russian scientists, and that's only the beginning. And we need to further the research to see if we can really develop a real aura camera, not the current aura camera on the market, where people have to put their hands on the sensor. A real aura camera that can capture the human energy field or the aura of a person. I've been trying to do that for a long time, for the last few years, and I just need more data from people who can see the colors of auras to draw the colors that they see, so that we can use artificial intelligence to come up with an algorithm from photos. So this is one example, and the other example is to incorporate colors into our daily lives. Colors are different vibrations that can affect our mood and also physical health. For example, like a few years ago, certain people did research on the effects of pink color pink. They showed that when a person sees the color pink for about 20 or 30 minutes, the person would lose about 30% of the strength, muscle strength. So this is the effect of pink color could do to a person. So people also did research on the color green, and there's a clinical study that shows that the color green, when a person with migraines, headaches, is shown by green light, then the migraines or headaches would disappear in about a week or 2 weeks or so. The clinical experiment was so successful that the people who participated in the experiment requested the LED green lights to be taken, to be given to them for free, so that they can really do additional therapeutic experiments at home, or maybe just to relieve their headaches. So this is the effect of green color. There are also effects of other colors too, like the yellow color, red, and also so many studies are on that. Just that the big companies or pharmaceutical companies won't be able to make a lot of money out of it. So this technology or the effects of colors are not promoted by the mainstream media. In fact, in the 1920s, chromotherapy or color therapy was so popular in the US that it was a mainstream therapeutic method for a lot of different conditions. But after antibiotics were invented or developed or discovered by the pharmaceutical companies, this effects of chromotherapy was actually suppressed by the mainstream medical establishment.
Yes, this is, I mean, there's a lot that we still don't know. And I think that the main problem is that the main value in our society right now is money, right? It's not human life, not human happiness. And when we are living in this consumerist format of society, where the only thing that matters is profit, then we are having the results that we are having, because you cannot patent, obviously, light or a compound that a plant produces, right? Like you cannot patent a plant, you can only take one compound and kind of patent it to sell to people. And this is where we have this problem reaction solution mechanism being implemented, a pill for an ill. So really, we need to change the optics of how we approach, and putting human life as the highest value. This is what this creative society is about. Will solve the most, like correct the course of our civilization. And how do you think we can build a society like where we shift these ideas, and where we build the society where everyone is happy and living the best possible life?
Knowledge is power. So everyone should have as much knowledge as possible regarding how to build this creative society using technologies that can benefit mankind. One information that I have is that the ETs, the Thiaoouba, suggest us to commercialize hydrogen engines as soon as possible. I know there are commercial vehicles that use hydrogen as a power source, but what's the real benefit? What the real benefit is to obtain hydrogen from water molecules, from water. So Stanley Meyer, a few decades ago, invented a water car, water vehicle, a vehicle that ran on water. What he did was that he used a special vibrational frequency that breaks the covalent bond of hydrogen and oxygen in water molecules, so that hydrogen and oxygen can be split much more efficiently, energy-wise, by incorporating the specific vibrational frequency. So, but when he was about to benefit himself by applying a patent, or by talking with investors, he disappeared. I mean, he died suddenly. He wasn't able to do that. So I'd like to tell everyone that right now there are other scientists and inventors that already invented water-based engines. Like a person from Brazil invented like a water-based motorcycle. People can look it up on YouTube or on other like platforms. And also scientists from Japan, from Greece, even from Japan, they invented a lot of water-based engines. But the key is not to apply for patents, because when you apply for patents, the government will know, or the special interest groups will know. So they're either going to buy you off or make you disappear. And they're not going to issue the patents because it relates or involves national security. If you know patent law, if anything is so extraordinary that has benefit to the national security, the patent will not be issued by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So that's the information I'd like to give you. And the solution is to really be altruistic, to think mankind, and to publicize your invention on social media instantaneously on mass scale. Not to apply for patents, just to think about the mankind and the benefits that they can bring to the environment. And to do that in a very fast manner, so that the special interest groups cannot really silence you anymore, or silence the technology anymore. And also to know that your life continues after death, because the physical body dies, but the astral body reincarnates. So the purpose of life is to learn spiritual lessons and not to accumulate wealth, because you cannot take away material wealth with you when you die. Napoleon, a great military strategist, was very wealthy, and he had all the lands he had conquered, but he took away nothing after he died. When he died.
Yes, thank you very much. And Samuel, it was really a pleasure talking with you. I hope we can touch base again in some time. And I hope that, people read the book, learn more about the ideas there. And if you have a message that you would like to share with everyone watching and listening, please do so.
Yes, two messages. First one, reading this book is the best investment I have ever made in my entire life. I studied economics and I played the financial markets, but reading this book reveals everything that I want to know about ET technologies, the mysteries of Earth, the paranormal. So I would suggest people to read it. What we have just talked about is only about 5% of the book. There are another 95% that we haven't talked about. So get the book and read it. And the second message is that the way to respond to life challenges, whether it's financial difficulties or relationship-wise, is to follow your heart. Look inside of yourself, because the kingdom of God is within you. You can communicate with your higher self by meditation or by having a good night of sleep. If the solution is good for your spiritual growth, it will be provided to you. So when you encounter challenges in your life, don't panic, don't follow religious leaders, and don't follow politics or mainstream media. Just meditate and follow your own heart, and you're going to be benefited from it.
Thank you very much. And Samuel, thanks for joining and telling what you've learned and this beautiful message. Thank you so much.